What's up everybody, it is still me Tural, and in this tutorial we are going to talk about primitive obsession. We'll learn what is primitive obsession, how to eliminate primitive obsession, how to build your real valuable value objects in your domain. And actually this is going to be a part of domain driven design elements, and if you are actually applying or preparing to apply domain driven design techniques to your project, this tutorial is must have for you. So stick around, let's get started. Approximately in all my tutorials, I am repeating the same stuff. As always, we are going to cover everything in practice, but this is true. We are going to cover everything in practice also in this tutorial. I have a simple console application where I'm going to explain the primitive obsession itself, and also we'll have a separate web API where we are going to cover all stuff we are planning to learn here in practice. Okay, so let's get into the project. Now I have a simple console application, so you see there is nothing special. This is just a generated template. In this project, say we have a simple domain element called class account. This is our simple account that consists from account name and of course account number. So I have account name here and I have account number. I'm just using the number stuff because the class itself, the name of the class, is also going to be a part of your contract. So it is better to use not just account number, account name, but in account have name and number because they are related to your account. Okay. This is going to be your Coco object. So you see, this is plain old seller object. There is nothing to do here. This is just approximately nothing. You can't call it a domain model because if you are calling something a domain model, it should be a rich domain model rather than anemic model. This is just an anemic model. So instead of having it as a rich domain model, you should provide some logic. For that reason, I'm just going to change it to my record. I will tell the reason, because in our record it is better to build value objects. There is no need to have a comparison, and there is no need to override some methods like toString, get hash code to make it a really valuable value object in your domain, because records takes care of all this stuff. Just check my mastering C# records tutorial to learn more about it. In our record, we have get set. I'm just going to change it, get init. I want to instantiate stuff in our construction process. This is really important because I'm going to build immutable object rather than mutable element. So this is our construction process. In our construction process, I want to have some sort of validation. Truth be told, I'm not a big fan of validating stuff in a construction process, but it is what it is. So let's go for it. I have string name. Let's just make it, let's just copy stuff from here. So we have string name, we have string number, and I have tons of validation here because for the name, for the number, we should apply some sort of validation. The first validation here is going to be if this is the name, this is the number. If our name is null, it means we should throw argument null exception here for the name. You can see this is providing some formatting stuff here. Let's go for it, add brackets, and I guess for the argument exception we have really better version here. And for the name, let's just use name.trim to trim the stuff. And what I want to do for my name, I have the limitation, symbol limitation. So this is our symbol limitation for our name, let's say. Okay, otherwise if it is not true, we should throw another exception here that is going to be argument exception through I think it would be better just return, sorry, just throw new argument exception argument. Right now I'm not going to create our own exceptions. Let's just throw the argument exception, and from the argument exception I'm just providing my name of like this. Okay, and let's just do like this. And what else? Let's just copy. Of course, you are able to add more complex logic. For the simplest, I'm just doing the simple stuff here. Let's go for the number. For the number, we should have, let's say, this type of validation stuff. And let's provide our number like this. Let's do a bit formatting here. So you see, in our construction process, we are validating our properties, and after validation I am just going to set the name here and the number here. Okay, this is our validation. In C# we have really good way of defining this stuff. This is our pattern matching, so you can apply this pattern matching here. So what I want to do, I am just providing like this: if the name dot length is not between greater than 6 and less than equal to 10, and then we should throw exception. Okay, and let's approximately just copy and paste stuff and change it to a number. That's all. We have applied our pattern matchings here. So this is our simple class. Actually, this is not our POCO, but going to be a really real value object, because we have record, we have value-based comparison, we have immutability here, and we have some sort of validation. So this is approximately a real value object. Okay. The problem here is, in our account, I'm using string name and number, but let's say we have special class called AccountService. So in your service layer, we'll implement it in our web API, and we have special contract method called change just number. Okay, change number. So we should provide the account number here to change this account number. The problem here is, before changing this account number, or even I am able to create account number, say this is a requirement for our account number to have this sort of methods, and it means I should just copy this stuff from here, and after that I am able to create this number, or I am able to, let's say, change this number. So you see, let me just copy stuff from here. To change it, you also need to compare it, to check it. For the create, we also need to do it, and also it is possible for you to have more additional methods, for example, process account number, etc., depending exactly from your domain. This is a big problem. The problem here is we are just going to copy all the logic between our classes. So you see, I've just copied stuff from here and pasted to our create number, change number. They are just the domain based methods. It doesn't mean that you will have these methods everywhere in your account where you need to create account-based domain models. But in my case, let's say in my domain, I need this sort of methods. So this is just a duplication. We are violating DRY principle. Don't repeat yourself. We are just repeating ourselves everywhere. This is a big problem. Another stuff here is, say, for our record, we have public class account factory, and for the account factory we have public static create account that will return our account. Okay, this is our account. We are creating this account using account name and number. This is a bit complex object, let's say, and we are just creating our account using name and number. Okay, what's wrong here in accessibility? This is not a big problem. Let's just add public, and that's all. So another problem here is, the first problem is dry principle. We are just repeating ourselves everywhere. And the other problem here is the method signature dishonesty here. So you see, we have dishonest method signature. It means this account contract, public static create account, indicate that we'll always have our account. But as you know, we have exception throwing mechanism here. So this is not a correct contract for us, because it is possible for us to create this account or throw exception. Even using this null mechanism will not help you, because you are throwing. Of course, you can handle it from here, try catch, but from the signature here, this is not a honest method signature for us. If you want to learn more about method signature dishonesty, just check my functional programming tutorial to learn more. In this project, we have two main issues, one for violation of dry principle, the other one is method signature dishonesty. Before solving this problem, let's try to understand where is primitive obsession, what is primitive obsession here, and how to eliminate it. When you are dealing with a primitive type that actually means something from the domain perspective, this is a primitive obsession. In my case, string account number, this is our string. This is a primitive type, but this account number is actually should be a value object. This is something meaningful from the domain perspective, from the domain-driven design perspective. But we are interacting with it like a primitive type. So this is what we are calling primitive obsession. Okay, in our case, so you see we have string account number that should be changed, that should be created, and that should be instantiated in our account. This is really valuable from the domain perspective, but we are just using a primitive type for it. That's why we are calling primitive obsession. Primitive obsession is anti-pattern. Don't use primitive types for your real valuable value object. This is the main principle, the main idea of our current tutorial, okay? So how to deal with this issue? For the primitive types where you see that it is really valuable for your domain, you should create a separate domain model for it. Because not every string is account number, you know? For example, this is also string, or even this one is also string. But are they actually account numbers? Of course not. Every account number is a string, but not all strings are going to be your account numbers. This is a really big difference, okay? So in my case, I should create a separate account number, and this account number is really value object. I should use records in this case. Otherwise, for the oldest .NET versions, you should create your own class for it and to do some overrides to make it value object, to override your operators, to override your, I don't know, the equals method, get hash code to string, etc. Record account number. Okay, this is my, let's make it public. This is my record account number, which brings a lot of interesting stuff like overriding equals, get hash code, etc. Built-in mechanisms for our records. We already talked about records, that they are just a syntactical sugar over our classes. And what I am going to do, string, this is our value. Of course, this is our read-only value. I will instantiate it. And let's provide string number. Let's assign it to the value. To avoid checks in your construction process, it is much better to use static methods. Okay, I'm also not a big fan of static methods because they are avoiding principles of object-oriented programming. But anyway, public static, and this is our account number. We'll create our account number, and this is our create. So string number. What we should do, just copy this stuff from here. Okay, and let's do the required changes. Great. And what I want to do, I want to return new account number with the given number here. And this is going to be private, to not directly instantiate. We are not allowing our users to create this account number. Great. Now we have account number. And what else I need? Let's just replace our account number first. To avoid this sort of checkings, I am just providing the exact account number. So you see, this will help us to not repeat our logic everywhere. So we are eliminating dry here. So we are not repeating everywhere. We are just providing our account number. This account number inside encapsulates all the required logic, checking logic, etc. related to our account number. And in our account, let's provide this account number. Actually, the responsibility of your account is not to manipulate to your number and name. In its core, your account should interact to the whole logic related to account rather than its sub-elements. Okay, cool. And let's create approximately the same mechanism for our account name. This is our name. Okay, and let's provide the name here. And I've just used the simple validation, but it is up to you what to use. This is just a demo. For that reason, I'm trying to make things really simple. This is our account name. Great. Now we have account name and account number as a separate value objects. So let's just use them. Let's avoid completely this comparison here, and it would be better to completely update our account name, our account number here, and of course it would be better to use them like this, and even it will help us to completely avoid this type of mechanism. And voila, here we are. Great. This is our record. We are just bypassing the internal stuff related to account, but for my account, having the account name and number for now is completely okay. And let's just copy it, paste it here, and let's provide just name and number. So you see, we are avoiding the repetition process here, and it is much more better than having the logic everywhere. Of course, this helped us to avoid the first problem, dry principle. Now we are not repeating our code in a lot of places. We have only one simple source of truth, one simple checking place. This is our value objects called account number and account name. But how about our method signature honesty? Of course, we'll use result pattern here. Result pattern is a special sort of mechanism, a special sort of type provided in C#. This comes from the functional programming. This idea comes from functional programming. Instead of throwing exceptions, we are providing the result pattern to make our method signature honest. For that reason, I'm just going to right click, manage NuGet packages, and from the NuGet packages, I will install C# functional extensions. Let's install it, and this will provide a result class for us. There is no need to build it from scratch, and it is already tested, and you see more than 10 million times it was installed, and that's all. And for the account number here, I will return result account number, because it is possible for us to have not the exact account number. Okay, instead of it, I will have this sort of check. If a number is null, then return result dot failure account number, and number cannot be null. Okay, and we are removing this through here, and let's paste the checking here. Number should be between 6 and 10 character. That's all. Let's just copy the same mechanism here for our account. So we are returning a result, and yes, we need to return, of course, the exact result dot success, and let's return our account here. Great. And let's just apply it to our account name. Let's return result. Instead of throwing exceptions, let's just check the number and name. And this is our account number, and here also let's provide the exact between information. Let's copy, paste. Name should be between 6 and 12 character. Okay, I think that should be okay. Now we are avoiding to throw exception. We have clear contract for our account number and account name. To see all this stuff in more realistic example, let's create our web API and work on that. So right click, add new project. I'm going to select a web API from the template, new, and let's call it primitive obsession dot API. Okay, let's create this API. Let's select this template as is. It doesn't matter for us right now. And I will have a separate class to simulate our service layer. Okay, and services, great. And let's create our template. Cool. Let's close. This is our, let's set as is. Let's set it as a startup project. Now we have simple web API. Inside it, we have weather forecast. I think this is not a correct for us. So let's create a separate controller, MVC empty controller, add. This is going to be our account controller. Let's wait for it. Let's change it to account controller. Okay. Let's change it to the controller base API controller and route to the controller. Okay. For the controller, I will have for now a post mechanism to create our account, of course. And to have this account, I'm just going to let's say we will add these domain models to our services, but it is better to have it to a separate library. But let's not make our application more complex. Let's just use it. So I have account information here. Okay, this is my public record, and I have public string name get init, and I have public string account number get init. Great. In my case, for my controller, account controller, I have special record called public, let's call it just class account model. So we have model in our API will provide our models. This model will take our data and provide it to our original account. Okay, I'm just going to use required public string. For the account, I will use name get set, and let's just provide it, and string length. For the maximum length, it is 10, and for the minimum one, it should be 6. Great. Let's just copy, paste, and for the maximum, it is 12, 6, and it is number. Okay. Now let's build our API. I'm just going to have the create account that will accept our account model. And this is going to be, let's say, action result account model. Okay. And I have here model state is valid, is not valid. Sorry. So let's return bad request. Model state doesn't matter for us right now, and we need to have a special service here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to provide account service, and this is our account service. Okay, this is our account service. This is read only, and of course from the constructor, let's provide it, and this is our account service. We don't have account service, we'll implement it. And what we are going to do, we need to provide this information to our create account, and this create account is not working with this model. It will we should provide the original account information that consists from account name and account number. For now, we have model dot name and we have model dot number, and this is our awaitable operation should be var response, and let's wrap our response to new account model. It is better to use mapper here. Anyway, we are just simply implementing it. Response dot name and number should be response dot number, and var user response, and let's provide this user response with, of course, created at action and name of the current action here. Great. Now let's implement our Let's see what we have. Of course, it requires asynchronous operation, and the required process need to make it to task. Great. Let's go to dependencies, add project dependencies. From here, let's add our services. Let's remove this class from here. Right click, right click, add class, and this is our account service. Our account service, we have the public contract here and public asynchronous task account, create account, and string name, string number. The actual problem here is we are providing name and number, but we have account information here. It would be better if you are using this account information directly here. Why? Because it is possible in the future you to have more properties, and if you're adding even one, it will affect to your contract, and you should update your contract. And having account information will help you to avoid updating your contract everywhere. Okay, now I have just simple account information. What I'm going to do, return just task dot from result account. We actually don't need to implement anything here because we are not planning to implement our application exactly. Our focus is primitive obsession. Great. In my case, unfortunately, I don't have any sort of validation here. I want just to validate this information. And you already know that in our validation, what should I do? I should just check and throw exception everywhere. This is a big problem for us. For that reason, we need to implement our name. But before that, let's see what we have as a problem in our application. In our application, we have validation for our account number. So you see for the name, we have validation here. And also in our account, I should add the same sort of validation here. So it means we are violating our try principle. And of course, if you are validating here, you should throw some sort of exception if you are not using result parent. So it means we have the same big problems here. That's how it should look like in your application. So we have same sort of validation here. We have same sort of validation here. So we are duplicating stuff. And also we have exception throwing mechanism here that makes our application not an honest application, not an honest contract when you use this account from the factory perspective, from the other method perspective. Okay, when you encapsulate your account creation, or when you use this account creation in your method, this method will throw exception. You should somehow handle it, or just provide it as is to make your method signature dishonest. Let's just run our application and see if everything is working. In my case, I just need to right click, quick service, extract our interface. Let's go to our interface. So we have account creation mechanism here. Let's just add our reference. And from here, I just need to create my account, of course. And let's do it first. Var account, new account, and let's create our account from this model. Of course, using mapper is better, but anyway, we are just doing demo here, and that should be all. Before running our application, let's add HTTP post, and of course, we need to inject our service here. Let's go to our program CS, and from here, builder services, add transient account service should be account service. I guess that should be all. Let's debug our application. Let's run it, and let's go to account, try. Let's use invalid name 1 2 3 4 this is our fourth symbol length, and let's run it. So you see one or more validation, the field name must be string, blah, 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 blah. So this is how our application is working. But the main problem here is we are repeating our validation process everywhere for our account model, for our account itself. So you already know that we need to encapsulate this logic to a separate class. That's how we are avoiding it. So let's just go to our previous example. Let's just copy our account name and account number from here, and let's go to our account itself. Let's paste them, and of course let's just copy our account, copy, and let's replace our account here. Yep, paste it like this, and of course let's just create, let's just add NuGet package, manage NuGet packages, pros, C# functional extension. Let's just install it. Okay, let's go to our project. Let's provide the required usings, and now let's remove unnecessary usings here, and let's go to our application. In our application, we need to do the final refactoring. Just remove these elements from here. You see, we are avoiding the repetition. In our application, we have removed validation from account model, and we try to encapsulate all the logic in our account elements like account number and account name. And let's in practice try to apply all this logic. I'm going to our controller. What I want to do, I'm just calling our account name create method here, and I will delegate models name mechanism. Instead of validating stuff here, I'm just delegating it to our original source of truth. Okay, so var account name response. This is our account name response, and if our account name response is failed, then we need to add some error to our model state. Add model state error. Let's use like this name, and from the error side we'll provide our original error message here. Okay, this is our string message, so it is completely okay. So let's apply it to our account number also. This is account number response. If something is wrong, then our account numbers error will provide it. So in case of failure here, we'll have some message in our model state, and this check will return true if something is wrong. Okay, so it means now if everything is okay, we have account name information and account number information, and it is really easy for us to construct it. From the account name response, I will get the exact value. From the account number response, I will get exact value, and that's all. That's pretty much all. And what else? We need to return the response information here. So in my case, I'm just going to our account information here. So you see we have account number information and account name. The problem here is we have private data. We are not able to return account names value here. To make it returnable data, I am able to construct it like this to have the exact matching to a string. We are able to do it using implicit explicit operators. What I want to show you here is I should be able to extract information using string assigning. So account name equal to account name, okay, it should work, and string account, of course, from the account response dot value, it should work, and the same account number, I must be able to get data from here also, okay, and that should solve our issue without any problem. So you see, in practice, you are facing with some sort of conversion like implicit explicit conversion. Right now we have implicit one, so let's go for it. Public static implicit operator string, and this is our account name, and let's return name dot value. I guess that should be completely okay, and it is better for all your value types to implement mechanism like this. For the account name, it should be, of course, explicit. I will explain it also. So this is our string name, so it should be return new account name. Let me just show you it here. So you see, it started to work. Let me just copy and paste this stuff for the account number to work properly. Okay, so this is our account number, and this is my number. This should be number dot value, and for the account number. So what is the value of implementing this implicit explicit conversion? The case here is every account name, every account number are valid strings. So it should be really easy for you to convert from your value type to exact string. But the opposite operation is a bit problematic because not every string is a valid account name. Not every string is a valid account number. For that reason, it should work like this. Account name equal to, let's say you have account name here and you want to do conversion, and it should work only like this. Okay, and this is working. Why? Because we have provided explicit conversion. Okay, so inside our account name we have explicit conversion. This explicit conversion indicate that you are able to convert from string to account number, of course explicitly, but in this case you are able to convert from account name to exact string, and it should always succeed because all account names are string in your case. Before executing our application, we need to change it here like this. This should be the number, and let's run our application to see if everything is working. So you see, I've just removed the validation from account model. I've delegated this validation to my account name and account number value objects, and now they are a source of truth for our account and account model. Okay, let's just go to our account endpoint. Let's try 1 2 3 4, and here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. This should be okay, but this should fail. Let's run it. So you see, only name fails here, and let's make it fail also number. Let's execute, and here we are, number is also working. That's how we are dealing with primitive obsession. At the end, primitive obsessions brings a lot of issues. Primitive obsession is anti-pattern, and when you use primitive obsession, it makes you to duplicate your logic, and also it makes your application methods contracts dishonest. That's all about this tutorial. If you like my videos, please don't forget to subscribe, hit like button, share, and I will see you in the next tutorials.